You see yourself standing on that lot right now. The keys are warm in your hand. The salesman is smiling. The paint is shining. And you are about to sign for a brand new SUV that everybody swears will last you 15 years. Stop. Some of the newest SUVs rolling off dealer lots today are falling apart before the first oil change is even due. I have watched them limp into my bay with under 20,000 miles on the clock, and I have watched grown men nearly cry when I told them the repair bill. I have been turning wrenches for more than 30 years. I do not sell cars. I do not take kickbacks. And I remember the truck that burned me back when I was young and dumb, so I know exactly how it feels. Stick with me, because there is a survey from Consumer Reports and a transmission code hiding in plain sight that tells you which of these SUVs are ticking time bombs. There is also one quiet, boring model that outlasts every single one of them. This matters whether you are buying new, buying used, or already parked in your driveway right now. Let me start with the one that breaks my heart the most, because the people who buy it are just regular families trying to do the right thing. There is a certain kind of compact SUV that everybody trusts. It gets great gas mileage. It has a comfortable ride. The commercials show it climbing mountains with a happy dog in the back. And the transmission inside, a whole lot of them, is one of the worst things ever bolted into a family vehicle. I am talking about the continuously variable transmission, the CVT, and the ones built by a company called Jatco, stuffed into a very popular Japanese brand crossover from the years 2013 through 2019, have rolled into my shop more times than I can count. Here is how it dies. You are driving down the highway, minding your own business. Suddenly, the engine screams up to high revs, but the SUV slows down like somebody dropped an anchor. It shudders. It jerks. It feels like the whole thing is going to shake apart. That is the CVT overheating and the belt inside it slipping, and once it starts, it does not stop. I had a woman come in with a crossover that had barely crossed 80,000 miles. Nice lady, worked 2 jobs. The transmission was toast. A brand new unit with the labor to put it in ran her right around $4,000. $4,000 on a vehicle that was not even worth 8. She had 3 years of payments left. I watched her do the math in her head, and I watched her heart sink. Now, here is what the dealership never told her. These CVTs were failing so often that the manufacturer quietly extended the warranty on the transmission from the original coverage all the way out to 84,000 miles. Think about that. When a car company doubles the warranty on one specific part, that is not generosity. That is a confession. They knew. The data backs it up. Complaint databases with the federal government are stuffed with reports on these transmissions, thousands of them, describing the exact same shudder, the exact same screaming revs, the exact same failure right around 60 to 90,000 miles. So what do you do about it? If you are looking at any used compact SUV from this era with a CVT, you get it up to highway speed and you hold it there. You feel for any shudder, any hesitation, any moment where the engine revs climb but the vehicle does not pull. If you feel that flutter, you walk away. I do not care how clean the paint is. And if you already own one, you change that CVT fluid every 30,000 miles, not the 60 or 100,000 the manual claims, because heat is what kills these units and fresh fluid is the only thing that fights the heat. That one is bad, but at least you can hear it coming. The next one is far sneakier because it destroys the engine itself quietly while you are checking every other box on your list. Therefore, let me take you to the mid-size and compact SUVs from a certain American brand built roughly between 2010 and 2017, the ones with the 2.4-liter four-cylinder engine. On paper, it looks great. Domestic pride, decent power, good towing for the size. In my bay, it looks like a crime scene. These engines drink oil, not leak it, drink it, burn it right through the combustion chamber where you never see a drop on the driveway. I have had owners come in absolutely certain their engine was fine because the ground under it was bone dry. Then I pull the dipstick and it comes back almost clean because there is barely any oil left in there. Here is why that is a death sentence. When the oil gets low and nobody knows it, the engine starves. On these particular motors, low oil cooks the timing chain and starves the bearings. I have pulled valve covers off these things and found the inside caked with burnt sludge, the timing chain stretched loose as a bicycle chain. Once that chain jumps, the valves slam into the pistons, and now you are not talking about a repair. You are talking about a new engine. A replacement engine for one of these installed runs anywhere from $4,500 to well over $6,000, depending on your area. On a used SUV worth maybe $7,000, I have literally told people it is cheaper to push it off a cliff than to fix it. And I was only half joking. There was a class action lawsuit over this exact oil consumption defect. The company eventually acknowledged it and offered some help to certain owners, but you had to jump through hoops, prove it with documented oil consumption tests, and most folks never even knew the program existed. The ones who came to me had blown right past the deadline. The insider truth the salesman will never tell you is this. A lot of these engines consume a quart of oil every 1,000 to 2,000 miles, and the manufacturer's own service position was that burning a quart every couple thousand miles is, quote, normal. It is not normal. A healthy engine should go the full length between oil changes without needing a top-off. Anyone who tells you otherwise is protecting a warranty budget, not your engine. So here is your move. If you are shopping one of these, check the oil level yourself right there on the lot before any test drive, and after, pull that dipstick. If it is low and the seller says they just changed it, that engine is burning oil, period. And if you already own one, this is the most important thing I will tell you today. Check your oil every single time you fill up with gas. Every time. It takes 2 minutes, and it is the difference between a $20 quart of oil and a $6,000 engine. That is the American offender. But do not think for 1 second that a badge from across the ocean makes you safe, because the next one wears one of the most trusted names in the business, and that trust is exactly what makes it so dangerous. There is a compact SUV, wildly popular, from one of the most respected Japanese brands, built starting around 2017 with a small turbocharged engine, 1.5 liters, turbocharged, great fuel economy, praised by every magazine when it launched, and in cold weather states, it started eating itself alive. The problem is called oil dilution on these little turbo engines, especially when you drive short distances in cold weather. Raw gasoline sneaks past the piston rings and drips down into the oil pan. Now your oil is not oil anymore. It is a watered down cocktail of gas and oil that cannot protect anything. I had a fellow drive down from up north, and when he pulled in, I could smell the gasoline coming off his dipstick before I even wiped it. The oil level was way over full because it was full of fuel, and it stank like a gas station. That engine was running on what amounted to lightly oiled gasoline. The bearings were on borrowed time. This got so bad that owners in cold states were furious, and the manufacturer issued a service bulletin and a software update to try and manage it. They reprogrammed the engine computer and adjusted the climate control logic to help the engine warm up faster. Think about that for a second. The fix for a brand new engine eating itself was a software patch to warm it up quicker. That is a Band-Aid on a design problem. Now, this is the part I really need you to hear, because a lot of you watching already own one of these or one of the others I just talked about, and you are sitting there with your stomach in a knot thinking it is too late for you. It is not too late. This part is for you. You do not need a shop, and you do not need to spend real money to catch this early. Here is what you do. Once a month, in the morning before you start the engine, you pull your dipstick and you look at the oil level and you smell it. If the level is climbing above the full mark when you have not added any oil, that is fuel getting into your oil, and you have a problem building. If it smells like gasoline, same thing. That is a warning most owners never think to check, and it costs you nothing but 2 minutes in the driveway. While you are at it, do the same smell test on any of these engines I have mentioned. Fresh oil smells like oil. Oil that smells like a gas pump or looks milky or sits above the full line is telling you something is wrong inside long before a warning light ever comes on. And here is the money move. Shorten your oil change interval. If the manual says 7,500 miles, you do it at every 3,500 to 4,000, especially if you drive short trips in the cold. Fresh oil dilutes the contamination and buys your engine years. A $40 oil change is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy. Before I take you into that luxury SUV trap, I need to hand you the thing that turns everything you just learned into a system you can carry onto any lot. Picture yourself back on that lot this weekend, dipstick in hand, heart pounding, trying to remember which model year had the bad transmission and which lawsuit covered which engine. That is a lot to keep straight in your head under a smiling salesman. That is exactly what I put into the complete Lemon Proof bundle, the digital download of everything I've learned in the Bay. It gives you the reliability matrix that separates hype from hard data, a list of the exact engines and transmissions to avoid by model year and family, and brand rankings built on repair records, not ad budgets. It walks you through reading those federal complaint files the way a safety engineer does, auditing service bulletins to spot systemic failures early, and decoding class action settlement records so you dodge the proven lemons before you ever shake a hand. And if you want proof before you trust a word of it, do this tonight. Pull up the federal complaint database on any of these engines for free and read the shutter and oil burning reports for yourself. Then hold that against the model years I just gave you. The fastest way to get the books is to scan the QR code right there on your screen, or go to the link in the description or the pinned comment. And here is your honest reason to grab it now. That next repair bill is not waiting for a good time. It is already loading up in whatever you drive off that lot. All right, now let me show you why that badge from across the ocean is the most dangerous trap of them all. I have had guys come back a year later and shake my hand because that one habit saved their motor. It really is that simple, and nobody at the dealership will ever tell you, because they make nothing when your engine lasts. So that covers the ones hiding behind good reputations. But there is a whole other category of SUV that will hurt you worse than all of these combined. And it is the one that makes people feel the proudest when they drive it off the lot. Therefore, let me talk about the luxury SUV trap, because this is where I have watched the biggest, most confident buyers get absolutely destroyed. There is a certain class of full-size luxury SUV, the kind with the fancy British heritage and the air suspension that lets it rise up and squat down like something out of a spy movie. Beautiful trucks, gorgeous inside, and they will empty your bank account faster than a house fire. That air suspension I mentioned, the one that looks so cool, when those air struts fail, and they do fail, usually somewhere between 60 and 100,000 miles, you are looking at a repair that can run $1,500 to over $2,000 per corner. Per corner, there are 4 corners. The compressor that feeds the whole system can add another $800 to $1,000 on top of that. I have written estimates on these that cross the price of a decent used economy car just to make the thing sit level again. And that is before we talk about the electronics, the cooling systems, the timing components on some of these engines that were, frankly, not built to survive the way a truck engine should. I have seen these luxury SUVs, 3 and 4 years old, sitting in my lot because the owner realized it was going to cost more to fix than the thing was worth on a trade. They drove it in feeling like a king and left in an Uber. The reliability surveys have been screaming about this for years. Consumer Reports has repeatedly ranked these premium British and some German luxury SUVs at the absolute bottom of their reliability rankings year after year after year. This is not one bad batch. This is a pattern the data has confirmed over and over, and the buyers never hear it because the marketing is so strong and the showroom smells so good that nobody wants to believe the beautiful thing in front of them is a money pit. Here is the insider truth. A lot of these luxury SUVs are leased for a reason. The people who really understand them never buy them outright and never keep them past the warranty. They hand them back before the air suspension blows and the electronics start throwing tantrums. The person who gets hurt is the second owner, the guy who buys it, used at what looks like an incredible deal, 4 or 5 years old, half the original price, thinking he is a genius. He is not getting a deal. He is buying somebody else's exit strategy. So if you are tempted by a used luxury SUV because the price finally came down into your range, ask yourself why it came down so far so fast. A vehicle that loses 60% of its value in 4 years is not depreciating. It is warning you. The market is pricing in the repair bills that are coming, and if you must have one, you get a pre-purchase inspection from someone who knows that specific brand. You budget for the air suspension replacement before it happens, and you never, ever buy one without a real warranty. I have watched too many good people get wrecked chasing that badge. But here is where it all comes together, because you did not click on this video to just hear a list of what to run from. You want to know what to actually buy. You want the answer. So let me give it to you, and let me tell you where it comes from, because this is the part they bury. Consumer Reports puts out an annual auto reliability survey. It is not opinion, and it is not paid placement. They gather data on hundreds of thousands of real vehicles from their own members, actual owners reporting actual problems across 17 major trouble areas, everything from the engine and transmission down to the electronics and the paint. Then they rank every brand and every model by how often things actually go wrong. This is the closest thing we have to the truth, because nobody is selling anything. And year after year, buried under all the flashy new models in the marketing budgets, the same boring answer keeps rising to the top. The most reliable SUVs on the road are the ones with the older, simpler, naturally aspirated engines from a couple of specific Japanese brands. No tiny turbo straining to make big power, no troublesome CVT, no air suspension, just a proven engine and a conventional transmission that engineers figured out decades ago and stopped messing with. I am going to be specific, because specific is the only thing worth your money. There is a mid-sized Toyota SUV and its slightly fancier cousin over at Lexus that both run a 3.5-liter V6 engine and a good old-fashioned traditional automatic transmission. Not a CVT, a real automatic with real gears. These things routinely cross 200,000 miles and keep going. I have one customer with over 280,000 miles on his original engine, original transmission, and the only real money he has ever put into it is brakes, tires, and fluids. And here is the real secret, the one almost nobody talks about. There is a body-on-frame Toyota SUV built on the same bones as their famous off-road trucks, running a 4-liter V6 with a timing chain, not a belt. That engine, in mechanic circles, is considered close to bulletproof. I have seen these things with over 300,000 miles still running strong. They are not fast. They are not fancy. The gas mileage is nothing to brag about, and that is exactly why they last. There is almost nothing on them designed to fail early, because there's almost nothing complicated on them at all. The truth is, simplicity is reliability. Every fancy feature that makes a showroom SUV feel special, the turbo, the CVT, the air suspension, the twin screens, is one more thing engineered to a price, and one more thing that fails the moment the warranty ends. The vehicles that last are the ones the marketing departments find boring. The engineers knew this. The car companies knew this. But boring does not sell as well as shiny. And shiny that breaks after the warranty means you come back and buy again. That is not an accident. That is the business model. One honest source kept score anyway. The reliability survey exists precisely because somebody decided regular owners deserved to know the truth that the ad budgets were burying. And now you have it. Before you sign, before you trade, before you make the mistake that keeps my bay full. So when you walk onto that lot this weekend and the salesman steers you toward the newest, most feature-packed, most turbocharged crossover on the floor, you are going to remember this. You are going to ask what transmission it has. You are going to ask about oil consumption. You are going to pull the dipstick yourself. And when your gut tells you the boring V6 in the back corner of the lot is the smart buy, you are going to trust it, because now you know why. Let me tie a bow on the whole thing, because I want you to leave here with more than a list. I want you to leave with a way of thinking. The prettiest SUV on the lot is not the one that loves you back. The one that loves you back is the one that starts every cold morning for 15 years and never once surprises you with a bill that ruins your month. I have spent my whole life watching the difference between those two, and the gap is enormous, and almost nobody tells you which is which until it is too late and the vehicle is already in my bay with the engine torn open. You are not the kind of person who gets sold a lemon. You did not get this far into this video because you wanted the fanciest thing on the lot. You got this far because you want the truth and you want your money to mean something, and you refuse to be another sad story sitting in a mechanic's parking lot doing math in your head. You already know what to do now. You slow down, you check the oil, you ask about the transmission, and you walk away from anything that gives you that feeling in your gut. Now, I want to hear from you because I read these. Tell me in the comments which SUV you are looking at right now or which one is sitting in your driveway. If you have got one of those compact crossovers with the CVT or that little turbo engine or that 2.4 with the oil drinking habit, I especially want to know. Tell me the year and the mileage, and I will tell you straight what to watch for. And tell me where you are watching from, because I love seeing how far this reaches. If you are the kind of driver who refuses to get burned, who would rather hear the hard truth from a guy with grease under his nails than a smooth pitch from a guy in a tie, then you belong here with the rest of us who watch each other's backs. Come along. So the next time a car company tries to bury something under a marketing budget, you hear about it from me first. Because next time I am going to show you the 3 engines that mechanics like me quietly buy for our own families, the ones we would trust with our kids driving cross country alone at night. One of them is sitting on dealer lots right now for a price that will surprise you, and almost nobody is talking about it. Keep your oil fresh, check that dipstick every fill up, and I will see you in the next one. Before you click away, here's what's next. Everything today was just the overview. Inside the Garage Bench Club, I go deeper, picking up right where this video stopped. And you can ask me your own question. A real person answers me, not a machine. You won't be doing this alone. Folks like you are already inside. Just point your phone camera at the code on the screen, and you can cancel anytime. Now, before you spend a single dollar on your next SUV, let me show you the ones buyers truly regret owning. It could save you from a very costly mistake. That video is starting right here.